Botany and Board. I am Bailey.
And I'm Wyatt.
And today we have a very special review for you guys of none other than Botany itself. So we have got our Kickstarter copy is in the building, and so we're going to do a review. To kick it off, to start on the review, we're going to go into none other than the aesthetics to start it off. As you guys can probably already tell, they knocked it out of the park with this. The inside of of the map. Also the back of the board, I'll have to insert a picture perhaps of the back of the board. All the expansion boxes also have the gold foiling involved as well, so you can kind of see those. So pretty. Like, so who wants anything other than this to sit on their shelves? Not me. The next thing they really did that I really like, so they upgraded the dice. It has a cute little flower, and I like the kind of like the sepia-ish, oldest kind of olden times kind of set for the dice. And then they also, another thing they were able to unlock in the Kickstarter is these little pawns. So they did a custom shapes for each of them, and then also the colors. So you don't have to be the standard red, yellow, blue, green that people love to put into things. So you can actually, yeah, they'll kind of roll around if you do that. So they have all these neat little shapes. I love that they were able to unlock the extra in that. And then the expansion boxes as well, when you open them up, they also have the map on the inside. The artwork is amazing, and there's so many plans. So again, whenever you get and you add in the extra expansions, you also get an extra 100 cards. So there's 105 that come in the base game, and then 50 in each extra expansion just for the specimens themselves alone. The card quality is really good, shuffles really well. So as far as aesthetics go, I think they knocked it out of the park. They, both with the player estate mats, nice thick mats, also just having like the nice big player cards as well. Character cards. Just the look. I mean, like the look of everything is just amazing. Like I couldn't have made it look better if I would have tried.
Do you want to show the metal coins?
Oh yes. So the metal coins are extra, but you can pick them up at their website, and I'm sure other retailers will sell them too. But they are very nice and very beautiful. And I do think if you're somebody like me who likes aesthetics, it does aid to the experience. So yes, I would say for the art, box, components, 10 out of 10. Totally hit that out of the park. Like I couldn't be.
That was really good.
Couldn't be happier. So mechanisms in the theme. So the theme
was good. Yeah, I mean, plant hunter going around the world, grabbing plants and bringing them back. You can press them or keep them alive. I mean, there's lots of historical references that I think make sense in the game.
Yes. And there's so many cards. Like they could have just had, a simple 50 or something where that would kind of reduce the replayability, but there's so many cards that you're never going to feel like you're always getting the same specimens or the same expedition cards or events or anything like that, because they have that dripping. That's the other thing. So with the expedition cards, or the event cards, excuse me, they made those where they have nice little flavor text of funny things. Why I danced with a bear, lost reputation because of it.
Yeah.
Like, he knows now not to dance with bears. And then as far as mechanics, so I would say, I looked on Board Game Geek and they didn't list this, but I would say it's almost kind of like pick up and deliver in a little bit. Like hand management, where you're really trying to focus on getting your routes and planning the most efficient way. Which ones do you want to press versus put in your warding case? How to manage your money in order to get back in time. And do you want to buy more expedition cards to make your player be better so that you can fare better on the events? Or do you want to focus more on buying gardens? So those are kind of the main mechanics that it has in there. Next up, setup time and play time. So the setup time, actually, if I can show the inside of the box here. So setup is super quick because the game insert, and by the way, this is the game you will get as well. You don't have to back it on Kickstarter to get this edition. This is the edition that is being sold at retail as well. So the little coins go in here, like so. And then all of the specimen cards. So it is a very quick game to set up because everything just has where you can set it right in its little compartment. Simply shuffle the cards, set them out on the board, and you're ready to play in 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
So setup, I would say, is amazing. As far as playtime goes, so it's supposed to go 45 to 75 minutes. I think it took us probably...
Took a long time.
It took a little bit. So that was our only thing, is perhaps it might be little...
Obviously, we only did 2-player.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So as far as if you're going to play it with 4 players, it might be a game where maybe you want a house rule to make it last a few shorter rounds, perhaps, or just come prepared to like leave some extra time. But for 2, that was better. But even it would be nice if we could get it down into the 45 to 75 minutes, because I think we were close to 2.5 hours.
I'd almost say that for 2 people going to round 9, reputation instigating an end game wouldn't be a bad idea.
In order to kind of make it move a little quicker, yeah. But then, and with that, you know, like we were reading all the flavor text on all of the events, which of course, like, adds to your experience, but also takes a little longer. So you could also, you know, do
But we've also played it before, so, I mean...
Learning and teaching complexity. So I would say to teach the game and to learn the game, I actually find it very simple. I think, no, you can go on yours and just say I find it very simple. I think that you could pretty much teach it to anybody, as long as you were someone who you read through the rule book and just explain the turn order to everybody. I think that anyone could be able to pick it up.
Okay.
What do you think?
A lot to think about. You got to read a lot of text. You have to like spatially be aware of how the game mechanics are going to play out and how each player turn in order are going to go. I don't think this is for, I call a beginner people who don't play board games.
Yeah.
It's not for a beginner. I would say it's a person.
Beginner board gamer.
It's a low-level intermediate would be that it could play this game. But yeah, not everybody would pick this up really, really quickly. But she runs a board game channel. So, yeah, it's easy for her. And it's easy for a lot of people who probably watch this. You'd be like, yeah, if you're out here watching YouTube for board games, you'd be like, this is easy for us. But if you have friends who don't play board games, this is not a beginner game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as hobby games go, I would say this one
If you play hobby games, yeah. If you
play, which I assume people that are here watching this review
do.
So therefore,
I would assume.
Yes. So overall, I guess we both agree it's lighter. He thinks it's lighter than I do, but I think it's lighter than he does.
Yeah.
But yes, a light, fun time. Ideal player count, so we already kind of hit on that. As far as, I think we prefer probably at 2, honestly, over 4, just in the sense of
if we played it with more people, we would definitely have to probably draw back the number of rounds before triggering endgame.
Yes. And then, so what I will also say with that, as far as ideal player count, I have a solo playthrough up as well, back when it was still just the prototype version. But this is very, very similar to our prototype that we played is so similar. They were pretty much done by the time we played the prototype. So the solo mode, though, as well, I would actually say I really enjoyed it. Abigail, so you get to play against Abigail Inglesby, and she actually goes and she doesn't pick up coins, she doesn't pick up expedition cards. You simply like get her 5 plants. She gets 5 instead of 4, and then you make her go in the most efficient way possible. So it's really actually a pretty seamless AI to implement. So I would say 1 to 2 players is honestly what I would have said was like the sweet spot for this game personally. Again, we haven't played it at 4, but that is just my assumption based on time that it might get a little long. Especially it's a little bit more of a multiplayer solitaire experience. There's some cards where I can put, you know, negative specimens in your estate and stuff like that, but for the most part, while you're waiting for somebody else's turn, you know what I mean? You're just kind of doing your own thing. Like, I don't impact you because I stopped in New Zealand as well and took a card. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Yeah. So, perilous perfumes and tantalizing trees, which, by the way, see, I love what they did. Like, the names and stuff is just so good. But also, within those expansions, so also I can show you that all the boxes, game boxes, have the cute little map with it. But the nice thing about it was we were able to just throw everything right in. So it just added character cards, specimen cards, event cards, expedition cards, and then the extra garden features. So some extra buildings to buy. So they were easy. You just shuffle them right in and you can just add it. So it's kind of one of those nice expansions where it didn't add more complexity to the game. It just added more replayability by the virtue of giving you extra cards, which I really liked.
I think I would probably house rule a few things to make it more fun for me.
Okay.
On a competitive basis, there's a few rules that I might tweak to make it a little bit more competitive. And then, like we already said, I'd probably scale back the number of rounds to speed it up. Because I think I could achieve the same thing and maybe even get a whole nother gameplay in if I don't play it out to the 12. There's a couple of rules that I would tweak to make the way, specifically how the game ends, different. That would make it more competitively fair.
Yes, so what he's alluding to is that if you watch our playthrough that we just ran through today, so unfortunately I was not able to make it back home into my estate. So therefore, when you don't make it back to your estate, everything that's in your Wardian cases, so I had 2 Wardian cases and I had some pressed flowers as well, but they were worth nothing because
she does get an extra turn.
I do get an extra turn.
That part is true, but we discussed things like maybe everyone's excess coins, because coins aren't worth anything at the end of the game, maybe there's a conversion rate where that equals 5 coins as a point. Or perhaps if you don't make it back to the estate, the live items in your Wardian case would become pressed items in your case.
Get 1 point at
because
least.
Otherwise, thematically, we discussed this, that like if you get nothing, that almost implies you died on your voyage. Like you don't even make it back to your estate and you get nothing. And so it's kind of weird because we're like, I don't think you died on your voyage. The worst case scenario is your live plants become dead and you press them in a thematic sort of sense.
Yes.
And so like giving like 1 point instead of, 6 cards could be worth 18 points, let's say. But like instead they get 6 points of whatever they pressed.
Yeah. So we did talk about like we might have a house rule for that would maybe make us like the game just a little bit more so that it's not quite so punishing.
On the end. Specifically on the end.
On the end. Otherwise, everything else is fine.
Yeah, I think that's a big one though that we would have maybe house ruled.
Yeah.
Because watch our playthrough. Baley takes it really well.
I did. I was salty. It took me all through lunch to get over. Oh goodness. Okay, so to wrap it up, I guess, I would say, so who is this game for and who I would recommend this? So I personally would say, number 1, first and foremost. If the aesthetic is just winning you over, I think it's worth having in your collection.
It's beautiful. And they did really good on the production value.
Yes, and so I think it's one of those games where it's beautiful. You're just going to have like kind of a fun, light, relaxing time. You're going around picking up these specimens. While you're waiting for other people to take their turn, you can look at the pretty artwork on your cards. There's enough thinking about like trying to like look at the map, plan your routes, when do you need to go back, what kind of building do you want to buy, what kind of specimens are you trying to get, do you want to purchase with the expedition cards. So I think there's enough little things to think about while ultimately being a pretty lightweight experience that looks really pretty.
Yeah.
So I would say if you are someone who likes aesthetics and you like a lightweight experience, I think you're going to really like it. If you are someone who wants way more strategy, I would say it might not just hit it out of the park for you, because you might, just with some of the things, it's more of a kind of even like a Mansions of Madness or a Elder Tour type game, where some of it, since it is going to come down to a die roll, some heavy strategy gamers are like unwilling to handle any luck. So they might just be like, oh, I hate the event cards, which the event cards honestly are not that punishing either way. Even if you go down one, I think they just add fun. That's why, but you have to be in that mindset where you're like, I want to just have like a fun experience. I want to read the little flavor text. I want to see if I danced with the bear and lost my reputation.
But you said, I think this speaks to somebody who likes a lot of flavor text, who likes a historical aspect, who maybe likes a world theme, and somebody who's definitely into plants to some extent. And I would almost argue that they need to be those categories. And then as far as the board gaming side, like, this is maybe a little bit of an entryway board game for a lot of people. So if you're really into board games, you need to like those previous categories that I talked about to really enjoy this game. You're like, this is going to look amazing on my shelf. This is one that I want on so many other fronts other than what Baley said is strategy. But yeah, it's a
and it has strategy. Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't.
No, but it's not so deep in it. Yeah. But it's a it's a very much beginner intermediate game with a really, really high production value. But you need to fall into some of these categories to really like it. It's thematic. It's got some competition. Would Baley and I house rule a few things to increase the competition? Yeah, I think we would. And you guys could come up with your own house rules, but like as a base game, I think it speaks to a lighter strategy, heavy thematic game.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I think we both really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you fall into the categories that we spoke of, this is definitely a game for you. And if you're just really into the board game hobby and you're looking for like, I really want that sort of luxury, high production value thing just for shelf appeal. I mean, they did that. They knocked that out of the park.
Absolutely.
So,
with that, folks, that is our review of Botany and its 2 expansions. Please let us know down below if you have any questions for us. Also, be on the lookout for their new game, Le Fleur. We will also be having a playthrough coming up later in April on that one. So, be on the lookout. Chat with us down below. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.